Hey there. Today is the third line day. We're still in gate 29. This is the gate of saying yes, the abysmal. Ra said that a third line day is the most dangerous day of the rave week because this is the day when things bump into each other. Bumping into each other can be very pleasant and it can be very painful. Regardless of which it is, the fact of the matter is that the principle of trial and error is something that bumps into you, and then you see what happens out of that. Something else to recognize is that all lower trigram days, especially the 2 and the 3, they are much more of an advantage to generators and projectors because it tends to bring out opportunities of responding or being called out through bumping into something. Ra said that it's much easier for manifestors or manifesting generators when the week gets into its transpersonal phase in the upper trigram. So the energy for us in our process today is to recognize that this is a day where things bump into you. It's a day when you can be shocked. It's a day when you can be hurt. And these things are worth bringing some awareness to. The very nature of what a third line represents, the bonds made and broken, the trial and error, and so on. This tells us right away that a 29-3 can get into a lot of trouble in the sense that it's easy to make the commitment, but it's very hard to sustain it. This is the bonds made and broken. When the 29 lower trigram makes a commitment to itself, it is at its best at that point. And it's important to understand that. And yet in making commitments to themselves, they're perceived as being selfish by the collective because the collective wants everybody to share everything and we're all in it together. But it's very important, the orientation of commitment. It's commitment to themselves, to their own personal destiny. This third line of evaluation is one of the most enlightened of third lines. The lifetime learning says in this context, properly accessed inaction. Properly accessed inaction. This does not mean that this is how they start life, of course. They have to learn. This comes through experience. They're going to be less likely to jump in and say yes, but nonetheless, they still will. They have to learn from experience so that that genetic attribute of theirs can be triggered properly. In the exaltation, it says, despite the urge and cost of inaction, the knowledge that it's sometimes better to fight another day, the power to wait. This is a very special third line. Mars is in this position, and Mars brings a maturing energy. It takes years and years of banging into things and of people saying, why did you quit on me? You have to go through that whole process until you can finally get to the point that you learn that you don't have to make that commitment, that there are conditions for you, and those conditions are your design. I'm a bit distracted. Somebody's trying to get into my meeting while I'm recording this. Just hang on a second. Let me just have a look and see what is going on here. Uh, let me just check it out. Okay, I don't know what's going on there. That seems to have frozen. Sorry about this, guys. This is my life already. Okay. No, I'm trying to remember where I got to. We did the exaltation, didn't we? Okay, so we have Mars in this position, and it's Mars that takes 40 years or so to grow up and to learn that bumping into things is always going to be what it is. That's its process, but waiting is something to introduce. So in the detriment, we have a preference for withdrawal in principle with little regard for effect, the inability to make commitments, the power of caution. The exaltation has the power to wait, and the detriment has the power of caution, which is not exactly the same thing. And again, because we have this introductory line, the lifetime learning, it's something that they come to. It's something that has to be waited for, in a sense. You're waiting to learn how to wait. You're waiting to learn the benefits of what it means to wait. You know, they get to the point where they say, no, I'm not going to try to make this commitment to anybody because it's not going to work. And I'm sick of it. I've bumped into this so many times. It's time to say no. To make a commitment is something that requires a great deal of abstract bravery. You know, it's the madness of the abstract, in a way, to keep trying a new experience, to jump up and say, yes, all right. And that's contagious. It's so important to understand that. It's a very contagious energy. So the caution in the 29 is something that is of huge value, not just for them, but collectively. They're often seen as an anti-collective force, and they're not at all. They're really not. In many ways, by not making a commitment, they're removing a certain kind of contagion from the life force, which may be an advantage to those people who would otherwise jump in and follow them doing whatever they're doing without waiting, without employing caution, without tapping into their strategy and authority. So the power of caution means that these are people that are just not ready to commit themselves to experience. And because of that, they can actually become quite weak. Their bodies physically can become weak. On the mundane level, their bodies do not get the necessary exercise or the necessary process of getting involved in experiences, doing the things that keep the body going. And it comes down to that whole business of, can we accept that these are our vehicles and that they are perfect? You know, because everybody gets exactly the right model for them. They get the model that belongs to them, but it's not always easy to accept that. So much of that deep philosophy is what is rooted here in the 29th hexagram. And that is why both the commitment to life and the commitment to death is here. If you ever explore rave cosmology, and the third module is called Dying, Death and the Bardo, and you discover that gate 29 is a significant gate on the final journey that we all will make at some point or another. This gate is not aware. The sacral center is not an awareness center. It's an energy. It's a pure energy. So the discovery of succeeding where others fail, this is the sort of subheading to the channel, to the 2946. It's the channel of discovery, a design of succeeding where others fail and failing where others succeed. Everybody thinks that this is about what you do, but it's actually about how you live in the experience of yourself. It is about the acceptance of form. And this is the only mystical possibility that there is for abstract people, just the acceptance that one is in the right place at the right time. And that begins with accepting the body. The other end of the channel to the 29, that 46, it's the love of the body. It's the temple. It's the love of the body or not. We always remember that. So the magic in the channel 2946, this channel of discovery, is to discover the magic of what it is to be in form, what it is to be in a body in this life, and what it means for this body to move through this life. This channel can be deeply profound because of that. This is the love of being alive in the body, and that is what this commitment is all about, to be committed to the life process. And when you're saying yes to something, you're saying, yes, I have the energy for that. You're not just saying yes to the experience or yes to whatever it is. What you're tapping into is that life force energy. It's like, yes, I have the energy to do this. Yes, I give a little bit of my life to doing this. It's that constant affirmation of saying yes to life. Gate 46 is called pushing upward in the Chinese I Ching. You have to come from the deep within the deep You know, gate 29 is the abysmal, the deep within the deep. So you come from there and you have to go through all of this life stuff, bumping into things and, you know, all of this stuff that goes on. And you finally get to the 46, the kingdom of heaven. And you discover, wow, this machine I'm riding around in, this is really great. And not everybody gets to that place. No, it's not because of this line or because of anything else, and it's not a blame or a failure. It's just about the nature of what it is to be human and unaware. If you're human and unaware, you probably don't like yourself very much, you know, which is ironic because what you don't like is the not self, the conditioning that you're in. So, yeah, you're what Ra used to say, when you don't like yourself and you're stuck in that not self world, it's the wrong person you're not liking because it's not you. And when you're in that place, you're not getting the chance to see the magnificence of what it is to be correct, to live as yourself. You know, everybody who stands in front of a mirror has a complaint about the nature of their form. Actually, not everybody. I have Bear, for example. Bear is like, he doesn't engage with that kind of a thing. It's just not on his horizon. And he frequently says to me, stop looking in mirrors. Stop standing on the scales and stop looking in mirrors. Because it's just that thing. You know, we look in the mirror and we find something that we don't like. And then we'll get onto a thing of like, how do we change that? How do I make it different? How do I, whatever the story is that's running, we do not accept the magnificence of what this form is. We complain about it. We'd like to, yeah, make it different. And this is the magic that's in the 29th gate. Because until we can accept the beauty of what it is to be in form, there's really no experience in life that's worth having. Because it's just plain. It's just pain, not plain. Well, it can be plain, but it's pain and it's difficulty and it's struggle. All of these things that we've been finding through the lines so far of this 29. You know, and it's the work of life. It's a tough, heavy world. We are weighed down with this deep within the deep, all the weight of the water hanging on us. But we're lucky. We are lucky people. We're privileged in a way. You know, we live in a society where there is a certain amount of wealth, where there is relative freedom. So much of the world is just a horror show. So we can learn to love what it is to be in these bodies, in these incredible forms. They're beautiful. And each one is unique. And each one has its own experiences of everything. Oh, it's a wonderful thing when you can get into the profound nature of it. And it's where we belong. We are an experiment of consciousness in form. The form is our bodies. Human design is form principle. It's about the experience of being in a body. No body, no experience. You know, the magnetic monopole and the design crystal need a body. They build the body, and then they call the personality crystal in. Then they call in what has the experience sitting in the back seat there. But without the body, there's nothing to call the personality crystal into. So this is where we belong. You know, this is what the 29 has come to recognize. It's that, aha, this is what it's supposed. This is what it's supposed to be. You know, or it is supposed to be like this. It's the glory of being human. And it is grounded in resignation. The 30, line 3, resignation, the acceptance of what is, which is really underlying everything that I've just been saying in the 29.3. The acceptance of the form, the resignation to that. But it's resignation in a, you know, it's not a ugh kind of resignation. It's just a wow, okay, I am resigned to the fact that I live in a form and that my mind might not think this form is perfect, but this form is the only form I have. So I will just get on with it and stop looking in mirrors. So it's the acceptance of form, it's the resignation to that. The third lines are deeply materialistic. by design, of course. And what is more material for us than our bodies? They're deeply connected to the earth and to matter. Accepting the form, being resigned to the form, that can take a big commitment. In resigning ourselves to the inevitable, we empower ourselves to wait, to be cautious, and to honor our bodies. Venus is in gate 47 today, moves in at 2347 actually. This is the filtering process between the head and the ajna. It's a gate of realization. It's the gate of realization, sorting out those confused mental images that come from gate 64 in the head, making sense of them, making sense of the past, finding meaning in it. Venus gives us an opportunity to lean into the time that it can take for things to settle, for the process of making sense of an experience to unfold. Venus can show us the value in not rushing through this part of the experience just because it's a bit uncomfortable, because this is still part of the experience, and the other end of the channel is confusion. Confusion can be uncomfortable, so we might want to rush through it, but here we've got that, okay, well, it takes time. Remember, we have this link through the abstract into the solar plexus. The solar plexus runs on a wave. There's no truth in the now. It just takes time. And every part of the experience is a valid part of the experience. And maybe we can see the beauty in surrendering to the experience as it reaches its conclusion. The moon is still in the root center, abstract gate 41, the gate of contraction. So we will still briefly have the channel of recognition with the earth being in gate 30. And then the moon moves into the tribal gate 19. This is 2 channels up, same side of the root center, and that's at 11:25 this morning. This is the gate of wanting, which has a need to access basic resources through successful interactions with others, so that everyone's material and emotional needs for food, for shelter, and protection of territory are met. And then it moves into the abstract G center gate 13 at 20:40. This is the gate of the listener. This is a memory gate. This is in the same words just gone out the window. Isn't that weird when that happens? It's in the same circuit as gate 29. It's the next channel up. Yeah, what does it do? It collects memories. It listens to people. It listens to their stories. It listens to their secrets, and it remembers things of personal value, but also things that can be of value to the community. All right, the final gate is gate 49, so we're back into the solar plexus, and this is the gate that's opposite the 19, and this is at 5:51 tomorrow morning, and this is it's the gate of principles, it's the gate of revolution, it's the gate of sacrifice. All of these energies are what comes through gate 49. It actively engages in and supports the call for tribal change, for social change. It really wants to correct anything it sees that is an imbalance. So this isn't correction as we get in gate 18, which is correcting pattern flaws. This is correcting social injustice, tribal injustice, people who don't get enough to eat, people who haven't got enough shelter, or distribution of resources that is unbalanced. That's the sort of thing that gate 49 is bringing attention to. So there's a continuity between 49 and 19. You can feel it where they're both part of the stream of need, and the language is present in both gates and in the whole channel, telling us how important it is to be aware of the needs of the tribe or of the community or that environment that we get into, which also is so incredible when you come to look at the cosmological side of things. As you might know, cosmology is quite a passion I have. And we see that the 1949 is a channel that is not going to operate from 2027 onwards. We are losing this channel as far as any new beings come in. Any one of us who are alive now or who are born between now and the mutation in 2027 will still have it, and we'll still have access to that energy. But after that point, this is slowly closing off, and it's not going to operate anymore, which is really amazing to think of. The changes that brings are absolutely profound. And yeah, so anyway, that's a whole other subject. So I'll move away from the 2027. Thank you very much for watching. We will have a gate 4 tomorrow, 29 line 4. It's not gate 4. I just said gate 4. I'm going to get to this end of the transit report and it's like blah, 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 blah. 29 line 4 tomorrow. Please say yes to coming, joining me, and I look forward to it. And I send you love, and go gently.